You have an 80mm overkill throttle body. Now you're ready to run nitrous. Stay tuned. Hello, welcome to Camaro Mods channel. I'm beginning to wonder if I'm the first one to do this. 80mm throttle body, the overkill, and nitrous. I can't find much about it on the internet. I contacted Nitrous Outlet about this, and they told me this is the 80mm and this is the 72mm. There's quite a bit of difference. And they said they only had the standard V6, which is a 72mm. That's what Nitrous Outlet said. But I didn't want to put a 72mm on a 80mm throttle body. It'd be like putting an orifice on it. So they didn't seem to know anything about this. They said, well, you can run a nozzle. I told them I already got a nozzle. I didn't want to run a nozzle. I told them I wanted to run a plate. These plates are a lot more efficient, a lot more, they spray better. They're in behind the throttle body. So what I need to know, they was thinking V6 and 72mm. They said that, well, that's all we got. They didn't even think about the 80mm. What you gotta do is think outside the box. What did this originally come off of? So that's what you got to do. You got to get in there and find out what this came off of. An 80mm throttle body is going to have a plate already built for it. That's a big throttle body. That came off of V8. So I got on the internet and I did some searching. I said, well, if I can't find out anything through Nitrous Outlet, then I'll just have to do it myself. So I got on the internet and it didn't take me long. It took me about 20 minutes to find out what this came off of. And you got to have this spacer. It's not a spacer, but it's an adapter. It adapts it down to the size that you need it to. Apparently, I don't know if I'm the first one to do this or not, but I can't find much at all about. Nobody seems to know anything about it. Nitrous Outlet didn't know anything about it. This tech guy that I talked to, I emailed him and tried to find out some information on it. I contacted Nitrous Outlet last week. I told them I had an 80mm overkill throttle body, and I told them it goes on a V6, and I was looking for a plate, nitrous plate that goes on it, and it says we only have the standard throttle body size for the V6 system. You could run a nozzle. Because I think a lot of people's getting away from running nozzles. Everybody's going to the plate system, spray bars, stuff like that. But I emailed Nitrous Outlet trying to get a plate system that would work on the V6. And I told them I had an 80mm throttle body, the overkill. Apparently they don't know what that is. That goes on the V6s. As popular as these overkill throttle bodies are on the V6. You'd think they'd know about it by now, but apparently not. Maybe I'm the first one to do this, I don't know. But this came off of a truck, so I got on eBay. It wasn't that hard to find. You just gotta. What I needed was a plate system to go in behind this throttle body. The overkill throttle body, I wanted a plate system going behind that. And so I finally found one. It didn't take long. I should have did it myself to begin with, but being as popular as this is for the V6 Camaro, you'd think they'd know all about it, but apparently not. But anyway, I did not want to cut a hole in my Rotofab elbow there. I didn't want to cut a hole in that and then have problems with this. You know, they talk about it turning and everything else, not spraying right. These plate systems are the way to go. They're probably a little bit thicker than this. I think they're 1/2 inch. This is maybe 3/8 or something. But this is the adapter for the overkill. So I found a plate system that will work with this. Before I put any of this on, I'm going to get the intake manifold to get it ported. Either going to send this one in or just buy one through JackFab. They'll port it out. I guess you just buy them through them, or I don't know. I'll just have to get a hold of them and see. Send it in, or. But anyway, I want to get all that put on before I put all this on. This nitrous kit is from Nitrous Outlet. 10-pound bottle. And this is the purge system. This is a small system. It's like a single nozzle where we're going to switch it over to the plate system. Going to do away with this. That might be cool on the lawnmower or something, but not going to go on the car. We got the lines and we're going to start putting this on today. We got 4 relays. I got a couple relays coming. This is for the purge kit. You got your main ones for the solenoids for that one's for the nitrous, and that one's for the fuel. You got your lines. On this nitrous kit, we're going to be running the pillar gauge pod. We're going to have the gauges in there. The gauge and the switches in there. Then we got the Innovate Motorsports. This is this is the gauge. This is the wideband O2 sensor for your oxygen fuel mixture. It also does RPMs. It's also a window switch, which you're also the pressure gauge. So this is going to be, you gotta weld in a piece for your oxygen sensor. Here's your other, that's your other relay. This connects into that, and this runs your, this is basically your trigger switch. One connects to your trigger wire, and this other one runs your, goes to your solenoids to activate the system. But we'll get into all that later when we get into the wiring. We're just basically going to do the plumbing today. Gotta connect all these wires, but I want to show you kind of what the whole kit consists of. It's going to be lots of wires. So this might be a 3 to 4 part series on installing the nitrous. Basically going to have to pull the whole exhaust system off so I can get in there and weld on this bung for the O2 sensor. I'm going to do a cat back exhaust anyway. I'm going to muffler delete I should say. I'm going to cut them off first, and that would make everything else a lot easier to handle. But anyway, we're not going to be able to install the plate today because I don't even have it ordered yet. But at least I know what to order. Another thing I want to show you with the overkill throttle body, there's no way to really connect the wide open switch. I mean, you could do that on the old style, which has your levers, you know, that you can, this is all run by electronics. And I'm not about to even open this up to get in there. So I was planning on running something like this anyway. It has a built-in the window switch, so you got to be at a certain RPM. Tank pressure's got to be right. The O2's got to be right before the nitrous even works. So it's basically, it makes running nitrous a whole lot safer. So being as I'm not going to be able to use this, then I have to have something like this. And also you need to run a little bit colder plug. I'll get a close-up shot of that so you can get the numbers off of it. Okay, this plug is an NKG LTR 71X-11. Then under that is 6510. It won't focus this far away, but that's a little bit colder plug than what you need to run nitrous with. So we're going to put them in at a later time. So we're going to put all the mounts on the, we're going to put the mounts on the solenoids. We're going to basically mock it up, lay it all out, see where everything lands, and see where I need to bolt it to. It looks like a lot of these are going to be bolting to where the coils screw down. This kit comes with all your nuts, bolts, and your pieces and parts, and comes with your bottle holders, and that's the boot that goes with the 80mm. And this will, another thing I want to talk about, when you start stacking all this stuff in here, we get the nitrous plate on there. It'll go in here, this will go in there, and you get thicker and thicker. Then your elbow may come into your radiator. Well, if you have that problem, then we'll just take and cut 1/2 inch off the pipe itself, not the rubber boot. In fact, we may have to trim this down also. This looks pretty wide. Probably don't need to be half that wide, but we'll see as we go. But what I'm saying on this is, you get too far out into the radiator, then we'll just have to, on our rotofab, just have to cut about 1/2 inch off of it. Okay, I got the mounts on the solenoids here. On these connectors here that goes on the solenoids, you don't want to use any kind of Teflon tape. Just screw them in just like they are. Okay, on your fuel out, this is a little bit smaller fitting that fits on here. Make sure it goes, your smaller fitting goes on your fuel out. So this line can go on there, and this will go to your plate system, your nozzle. So just keep that in mind. Now we'll get a wrench and tighten these up. Also remember, your red fittings are fuel. Black fittings are nitrous. They got them color coded. This one here is black and this one here is black. When you get ready to run your main line from the front of the car to the back of the car, just put a little piece of tape over it so you don't get no dirt and stuff in it. Okay, this is where we're at so far on installing these solenoids here. This is your nitrous here on both of these. This is your main nitrous solenoid, and this is your purge solenoid. Now I'm going to have to get a 90 to 90 over here, and it'll come up through the hood heat exchanger. This is your fuel one over here, and you got plenty of slack in both of these. Now we're gonna take the car, I'm gonna turn it around, jack it up, make sure it stays away from the exhaust or anything like that, any moving parts. And also have, you see back in there, I had the fuel line connected to the Schrader valve back there. Let's see if I can zoom in on that. But it goes right back where your fuel line right here connects into your Schrader valves in behind that. This fuel line here is going to be replaced with a bigger hose. This one is very restrictive, so we're going to get a bigger line for that. We've already got it. I've already got it here. I just got to get it put on. I just got to make sure I have the right fittings on it. So make sure you got your end taped off, either taped off or connected, so you don't get no dirt in them. I went ahead and connected that, but I didn't pull the stem out of it until we get all this connected. I don't want no gas running through these lines. And we got all this wiring stuff to do. So we'll put all this wiring here out of the way. We'll put this over here because we do have to start it for a few minutes and move it. So far we're making good progress. Your main solenoid here for your nitrous and your purge solenoid, they just tie together with the little connector with a T on it basically. There's a male on one end, female on the other, and it just screws together and has an opening where you can tie into your solenoid. I'm going to shoot it straight up. I'm going to bring it over and then back up again. It'll come up through the hood heat exchanger. So I got all these tied onto which will be the spark plug bolt It holds the spark plug the coil packs in. So that's what I got all them tied down to. Good and solid. So I don't have to worry about them moving around. But I wound up just using one, tying this together like this and just using one mount for it. Made it a lot easier that way. I was going to mount it towards the windshield wipers and come up that way, but I figured this would be easier just coming up through the... I just have to get another 90 or maybe a couple 90s, and that little long tube is... I can cut it and 90 it over and then bring it back up. I can come it up right through the... Bring it right up through the Chevrolet emblem. The purge. So now we'll get this car and get it backed out and get it turned around and jacked up, and we'll go ahead and run this this main line for the nitrous. Get that done out of the way. Okay, right in here is where we drill the hole for the nitrous line to come through. This is your battery, your negative side here. Whatever you do, don't let this come in contact with the positive side. That'd light it up. But I had to drill a pretty good sized hole. That's bigger than a ½ inch. ½ inch and watered it out for this fitting to fit through it. And I'll put that wiring loom that goes through there, help protect that line. You don't want to leave it like that, leave sharp edges. I'm just going to put some tape around it for now and put some okay, you can see the wiring loom we got on there now. It's just a split cover that you put wires through. It's just stuff right here. I just had some of this laying around. You just pull it off there and run your nitrous line through there, and there's a few more places up under the car that I'm gonna have to put some more of this stuff on there. I ran it right along them side skirts right there. It's like a little lip underneath there. Just pull it back. It's like a little notch up under there. Just fit right in there real nice. That's along the sides we ran the nitrous line. Okay, I poked a hole in the carpet, run it up through. Just barely enough line if you run it that way. And I don't have the bottle mounted yet, but I'm going to mount it on some kind of a plastic material, plastic board. But that's basically what it's going to look like when it gets done. So that will take care of the plumbing part of it. So in the next video we'll start working on the wiring. Should I say the wiring nightmare? No, we'll be running 4 relays, so that's not going to be too bad. 4 wires each, and plus the gauge and the switches and all that. But we're getting into that next week. If it takes me longer than a week to get all the wiring done, then I'll put in some other video in between time. I got the front splitter in. I can shoot a paint on that and get that installed. So, making progress. Thanks for watching.